It has to be hard being a New York Jets and Giants fan. But the difficulty is on a slightly different spectrum. I understand that it's difficult being a Jets fan, especially this year, because you had the hopes, the hopes were up here. You know, you go into the season with Aaron Rodgers, arguably one of the best, not arguably, undoubtedly one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. You have one of the best defenses in the league. You have, Garrett Wilson. You have Breece Hall. You now have Dalvin Cook. Like, there was such expectations and such high hopes going into the season that were ultimately dashed. And now you have to sit week after week, primetime game after primetime game, and watch them trot out Zach Wilson and lose games that they would arguably otherwise would have won with Aaron Rodgers. I understand that pain. I understand having your hopes as high as Super Bowl and then being dashed as quickly as it was dashed for the New York Jets. For the Giants, that pain is a little different. I don't think there was any type of Super Bowl aspirations going into this season. But going into the season, especially how last season ended, making the playoffs, beating the Vikings in the playoffs, ultimately losing to the Eagles, but making a playoff run. Daniel Jones having his best year. It just looked, Brian Daboll, I believe, winning Coach of the Year. It just looked like that there was promise coming into this season. Daniel Jones just got his contract, even though that was a huge talking point throughout this offseason, and of course the Saquon Barkley thing. But you still had you brought Saquon Barkley back. You have Daniel Jones. You got Darren Waller. You have Jalen Hyatt. Like there was a lot. I'm not going to say there was high expectations, but there was a lot of excitement going into this New York Giants season. Boy, how that excitement is out the window. The Giants Monday Night Football lost to the Seahawks 24-3. And trust me when I tell you that the score wasn't as close as I know it's 21 points, but it wasn't as close as that. It was worse. I think Daniel Jones was sacked 10 times. 10 in that game. Daniel Jones, 27 for 34, 203 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. One of those interceptions being a pick six, like a 97-yard pick six, by the way. There was, I don't know, man. I understand that, the issues that plague the Giants isn't just a Daniel Jones issue. And honestly, while I'm looking at it and while we sit in and while we try to dissect what's wrong with this team, a lot of it isn't Daniel Jones. I don't think the issue is Daniel Jones in a sense of he's the biggest problem. What the issue with Daniel Jones is he's not a solution. When you're getting paid the amount of money that he's getting paid, you're expected to be able to overcome the issues. You see, Joe Burrow has for majority, actually, I think all of his career in his NFL career, he has had a below average to just straight up bad offensive line. And even with that, he's made it to a Super Bowl. He's made it to two AFC championships. Joe Burrow has been able to overcome the issue. Now, of course, they haven't been able to win it all, but his play has been able to overcome the struggles and the holes that the Cincinnati Bengals offense has had. Now, yes, I understand that when you have Jamar Chase, when you have T. Higgins, when you have Tyler Boyd, when you have Joe Mixon, that helps a lot. But even still, it doesn't matter who you have if you don't have the quarterback to get them the ball. That's why Joe Burrow was able to get the money and demand the money that he got, because he has been able to overcome a lot of those holes. Same thing as Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has, outside of Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, they really haven't had a dependable wide receiver core. They really haven't had a running game at all outside of now, when I say Pacheco. Their main back has been Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who doesn't even see the floor or doesn't even see the field. But you have Patrick Mahomes, and you pay him as such because he's able to overcome, or he's able to make do with what he has. When you pay Daniel Jones the amount of money that you pay him, you expect him to overcome a lot of those problems. The fact that he hasn't, now as an organization, you start looking other places. You start looking at the coach. Well, is Brian Daboll... Brian Daboll, they're saying that Brian Daboll has to coach harder, which I do agree to an extent, because again, he did just win Coach of the Year. But you see now that your quarterback is not able to overcome the as bad as this offensive line is. He's not able to overcome that. So you have to find a way to put him in the best situations possible. Whether that's get the ball at his hand quicker, whether that's, I understand that Saquon Barkley didn't play on Monday, but you just have to find a way to get the best out of your player, which he has not been able to do. I mean, Darren Waller has been such a non-factor. Darren Waller, who is considered one of the best tight ends in football, has been a non-factor majority of the season. And as we sit here today, it looks mighty bleak. It looks like the season probably is over for this Giants team. Again, I understand that Saquon Barkley didn't play, but I don't think that there was much that Saquon Barkley would have changed, especially with this offensive line being as bad as it is for the Giants. It's unfortunate. Pat McAfee said this. I think that there's more hope right now. There's more hope right now as a Jets fan than there is a Giants fan, because a Jets fan, at least you know that at least next year you have Aaron Rodgers and you still have a great defense. You still have really young players. Like you see the light at the end of the tunnel. This Giants team, you have that Daniel Jones contract, and that Daniel Jones contract affects how this offensive line is built, which it isn't. It's arguably one of the worst offensive lines in football, if not the worst. Bro, he was sacked 10 times in one game. I think the game before, he was sacked 7 times. So in a 2-game span, he was sacked 17 times, which I believe is the second most since the NFL merger. I know the first one is Randall Cunningham. I think he was sacked 20 times in 2-game span. Daniel Jones was sacked 17 times in 2 games. Oh, man. It was tough. And I don't really want to talk much about the Seahawks. The Seahawks are a really good team. This defense is incredible. Geno Smith, I know that he did get hurt, but he ultimately finished the game. I guess what I want to touch on briefly is the exchange that Jamal Adams had with the doctor that pretty much was telling him, yo, Jamal Adams missed like 380 days because he hurt himself. Yeah, I think he had a leg injury. And he was out for the season. So I understand, the the vigor, the frustration as to you fight all the way back. And I think like the first drive of the game, and this is your first game back, you get a concussion. And now this independent doctor is telling you, no, you out, bro. We visibly saw him upset and going back and forth with the doctor, which I understand. Again, you fight so hard to get back, and then your at least game is cut short because of a concussion. And probably at the time he felt good, but hey, at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for the independent doctor is there to be your best friend. Like he cares, not your best friend, but he is there to keep you safe, even if that means protect you from yourself. Because at the end of the day, every player is going to want to play. But, I mean, when you get up wobbly and shit, like, nah, sit down, bro. So, I understand the frustration, but I also understand, the doctor's doing his job, bro. He's trying to keep you safe. So, congratulations to the Seahawks for beating the Giants 24-3. Oh, man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.